So that's what I would suggest is you really want to get into it. The first and foremost, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be afraid of getting hurt. So I guess this is a good time to say that the day after recording this video, I stupidly rolled the absolute out of my ankle for the second time. At all.
It was at this moment that he knew.
So to beginner skaters that are trying to progress in the fastest way possible, I definitely recommend giving it everything you got, but also trying to find a balance of when to call it quits. But in the beginning, I do believe that taking certain falls and injuries is what separates the boys from the men in skateboarding and is the push that everyone needs to progress to a certain level. I was thinking of going through some milestones. What I was thinking of. Ja, så jeg på hotel i 10 år.
Du ja, det tror jeg.
Ja, stemmer.
Her i bilen.
Ja, fine mann. Ha en fin dag. I guess we should start with the beginning of my skateboarding journey. If you've followed any of my shorts or Instagram reels or anything like that, you can probably assume that I've been skating for longer than 2 years, which I have. I've been skating since I was a kid. But I haven't really been pushing myself until I started again when I was 25 years old, which was 2 years ago. I skated a lot at this skate park in Boulder, Colorado, where I grew up. Or I spent most of my time growing up in Boulder, Colorado. And this park, you know, it was more like a BMX park, really. But when I would see skaters skate it, you know, I was thinking like, man, I want to skate like them, you know, just flowing around, doing whatever they want. But I also, you know, wanted to get some air. I wanted to grind some ledges and grind some rails, but I like just didn't have it in me, you know. I would kind of like freeze up, I guess you could say. And I resulted in basically just doing kickflips on flat ground. I could do pop shove-its. I wouldn't skate very fast, and I liked to ollie down stair sets. One day I really wanted to, you know, be able to do tricks down stair sets and grind rails and stuff like that. And when I was 13, I was in LA with my mom, or, you know, on the coast of California, in that area, in the LA area. And I was gonna jump on this 6 stair. I don't know why I was gonna jump on this 6 stair. It was like, you can imagine how the beaches are in California and a lot of places in the United States. Along the beaches, they have these bike lanes that you have one bike lane and then you have another bike lane for each direction. And sometimes they have these stairs that connect them. And I was gonna jump down this 6 stair for some reason with like no runaway, you know, like I would basically just run right into the sand afterwards. And jumped this 6 stair, 13 years old. I missed the tail of my skateboard, did the splits, and after that I was like, dude, if there is one thing I really regret in my life, it's that I completely quit skateboarding. I think that really translated or converted, I guess you could say, into my life outside of skateboarding. And I said to myself, okay, you know what? This is a new beginning. I am going to start skateboarding again and see where it takes me. I guess we can start with that, is that I started out and I told myself, how can I get as good as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible? And I said, okay, well, I need to do all the things that I was afraid of doing as a kid. I need to learn how to ride in different stances other than regular. What I need to do is I need to learn how to do 180s, frontside and backside in all of these different stances. That was the first thing that I was thinking of doing, because my flat ground game has always been pretty good. So the first like half year, the first year, I was still riding pretty slow, just working on my different stances, and then, you know, I also told myself, you need to start skating more transition, start doing some bank stuff. And so the first milestones that I had was 50-50 on ledge, just a normal frontside 50-50 on a ledge. That was huge for me, because when I was a kid and I was seeing these people do these like grinds on ledges and stuff, like it didn't even comprehend to me. I was thinking to myself, like, how do I get out of it if I miss? You know, what if I hurt myself? And, you know, it's just like the scenarios just kept going on and on and on. So the 50-50 on the ledge, I was able to do quite quickly. I would always overshoot it with my front truck, so that was really annoying at first. Made it work though. Got that to happen within about a month or so. When I would be trying these new things, I would also do things that I was comfortable with, just to kind of keep the flow going and just still enjoy skating, the things that I could do. And then in between, try to do some nollies, or, you know, just get used to doing these very simple tricks in these different stances, you know, relatively low risk. The next milestone for me, probably the board slide, backside board slide. I was at this one park in Kverneland. There's this little rail there. My truck got caught in between the rail, or I guess the board, like, got caught. The wheels got, yeah, it got caught on the bottom line is it got caught on the rail when I was doing a backside board slide, and I flew forward in front of all these people, and just, it was a pretty gnarly slam. But yeah, the backside board slide was pretty big, I'd say. That was pretty important to get down, because, you know, jumping on ledges and rails when I was a kid, that was like no comprehende, you know. I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? So that was a pretty big step for me. I'm pretty consistent at them now. It takes a lot for me to miss one of those. I'd say the next huge milestone was the rock to fakie, like I was talking about earlier. I never could do rock to fakie because the shit literally made me a little girl. Like, I wanted to pee my pants every time I was gonna lift my front truck and ride backwards like that, putting my weight back. It was terrifying. But I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it no matter what. Took some slams, and I said, okay, that wasn't too bad. Did it right afterwards. Madla skate park. That first summer, because I started in April. That's why I'm making this video, because I'm shooting this a couple days before April 1st. Me and my friends that I skate with a lot, we spent a lot of time at this park. That green ramp there. Man, that green ramp ate my soul. Completely, utterly, just... I have eaten shit on that ramp more times than I can count. That was like the first time that I really took like a really bad slam. Actually, no. Yeah. The first time that I took the baddest slam that I took was doing a 50-50 on the ledge at this one skate park that we have in Sandnes. That way. It's called Ruten. And there was this kid that was standing on the ledge, and, you know, I was kind of sick of like telling these kids to fuck off, because there were so many kids that love to go to that skate park. And I jumped on the ledge, missed my front truck, fell to the left, landed on my elbow, broke my elbow. Well, like a little bit below the elbow, so thankfully it wasn't actually on the elbow, but that was bad. That hurt a lot. But anyways, that ramp definitely chewed me out a few times. Broke the bottom of my knee on there. So the first year, there was some milestones. Tray flip was a pretty big one. First tray flip that I landed. Because when I was a kid, that was like a trick that I could just always wanted to do, but just couldn't. I didn't know where to put my weight. I didn't know how to do them. Obviously, I knew like how to do them, but it just never worked out. The hardest thing about the tray flip is how much you have to lean back, how much weight you have to put on your back foot, and then having to like fight against your shoulder from opening up. You know, you try to like use your body too much to get the flip and all that stuff. Like it really doesn't take that much energy, but when you're actually going to do the actual trick, you feel like you need to use a lot of energy to make it flip. But in reality, you only need to have your weight in a specific position throughout the whole motion. You know, I guess you could say after I realized that it didn't take that much energy to do it, I was able to do it pretty fast. The 50-50 on the flat bar, that was also really, I mean, when I was younger and I looked at a round rail and I thought to myself, you will not catch me dead jumping onto that thing. I didn't know how I was gonna balance, you know, especially like doing an ollie, you know, like your feet are in different positions. You don't really know, you know, that's like that's the thought process you have when you're gonna learn how to jump on a rail, on a round rail. And I also had seen, you know, videos on Hall of Meat and stuff like that where dudes get into 50-50 grind or whatever on a round rail, and then the board slips out from one side or the other, and then they fall, and there's this one where the dude just breaks his arm in half because he sticks his arm out and breaks his arm, and which does happen. People do that. I told myself, I said, you know what, I am going to jump on this rail if it's the last thing I do in my life. Jumped on it once, slipped out, bruised my wrist. I said, okay, you know what, that wasn't that bad actually. Tried it maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 more times. Landed it. And then I can say that like the last huge milestone for me, doing the back crook on that handrail at Madla. I mean, when I was a kid and I saw dudes jumping down stair sets doing like grinds on these rails, I was like, man, I want to do that one day. And I had board slided this rail before. So I mean, like that was a milestone, board sliding the rail, because it's a down rail, you know, so you have to lean more forward. Did that relatively quickly though, so it wasn't like oh man, that was crazy, you know. I mean, obviously it was the first time grinding a down or sliding a down rail, but grinding it is a pretty different story, you know. And after doing specifically that back crook on that down rail, I knew that every part of myself that I felt as a child when it came to skateboarding was gone. All that fear, all that doubt in myself, all of that, basically, you know, that fear of getting physically hurt and giving up on myself, all those things that I hated about myself as a child was gone. Being able to do things in these different stances, my 180s were getting good, my flat ground was getting good, I was able to ollie and kickflip to fakie in transition, you know, nollie big spin in transition and all these different things, and I had started to get used to slappies on ledges, and I was doing good on ledges, like the backside 50-50, that first one was pretty big. But I was still really afraid of skating fast. You know, like my body wouldn't do what I wanted my body to do. Like I would just kind of like, as soon as I was gonna pop, like my brain would just stop, you know. So the past year, that's what I've really been focusing on. I've been obviously spending a lot of time in the skate hall. What I've been, you know, going through the past year is, while the first year I was having all this really good progression when it came to single things. I wanted to do a single trick. Past year has been trying to get really consistent at these easy, tricks. I think another really big milestone though was finally getting down the backside 180. It took me so long to learn how to do that trick properly. You know, like popping and then having control over where your back foot is. So the backside 180 for me, getting that down, being able to do it fast as well. Like when I do it now, like I can go pretty fast on flat and do that where you get that really nice sound where it's like I love that. So that's what I would suggest is you really want to get into it. The first and foremost, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be afraid of getting hurt. You really got to force yourself to just jump on there, do something that you're not comfortable with, something that you've never done before. Really committing. That's the first step, is just telling yourself that no matter what happens, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to commit, I'm gonna try to get on this thing, and I'm gonna try to land it. Almost every time that I skateboard, I fall. Whether it's a slam or a bail, like that's just a part of skateboarding. Start with the basics. There's like the biggest thing that I see with these kids, man, is that they spend all their time trying to do kick flips and tray flips and stuff off of like a two-stair or something. Skate a lot of different stances as much as you can, and never give up. Don't do what I did. Never quit.